Alright, so in this video I'm going to go over our 6 weeks test number 2 review. You can watch all of it, you can watch none of it, you can watch the ones that you need to watch. So if you have a question on any of them, this is how you do it. So the first one, also know there's a couple ways you could work these questions. I'm going to work them the way that I think is best, or the way that I think of first, or what might be fastest. So there we go. Write the equation of the line that passes through the points 4, 5, and negative 3, 4. If you're going to write the equation of any line, you have to first find the slope. So we're going to find the slope of the line by subtracting the y's divided by subtracting the x's. So my second y, 4, minus the first y, 5. So I did 4 minus 5 over negative 3 minus 4. So 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. Negative over negative is going to be a positive 1/7 slope. Now I can use the formula, the point slope form, because I have point and slope. And so y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, your m is 1/7. Your y1 and your x1 are going to become one of the points. You can use either the first point or the second point. It doesn't matter, but you can't mix them. So I'm going to write y minus 5, because that's the first y value, equals 1/7 is the slope, x minus 4. Now, if this is the equation you write and it's a multiple choice test, but you don't see that, then maybe I wrote it with this point instead. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can write the same line multiple different ways. All right, simplify the expression. The only way to simplify a fraction with multiple terms on top and bottom is to factor it first. I can factor a 5y out of the numerator, and I'm left with y minus 1. In the denominator, I can factor a 5 out, and then I have y squared plus 1y minus 2. So my 5's will cancel. All right, now let's see if we can factor any further. So 1y squared, 1y, and negative 2. If I can find two numbers that multiply to negative 2 and add to 1, so 2 and negative 1 would work. So this is really y plus 2, y minus 1. Well, now that I see that I can also cancel y minus 1 and y minus 1. So I'm left with y over y plus 2. Number 3. If the equation f of x equals x squared is transformed to create the graph of g of x. So I'm just going to use that to build a new line, or a new equation, by shifting 5 units up, 3 units left, is reflected and stretched by a factor of 2. If I have the equation f of x equals x squared, here's our formula. I could have a number here, I could have a number here, and then squared. And I could have a number here. Okay, now, this first one is going to stretch or shrink. So whatever this number is your stretch or your shrink. And if it's a minus, that means it reflects. Or negative, sorry. This number in here is going to be plus, minus, some number. And this is going to be left or right. But it's always going to be opposite what you think it should be. This number in the back is always going to be up or down. And it will match what it should be. So if we look and see what I've got. I've got up 5. So that means that the back of my equation is going to have a plus 5. Whoops. A plus 5. 3 left, so x plus 3 squared, stretch of 2, and reflected. So my new equation is negative 2 times x plus 3 squared plus 5. All right, if f of x equals 3x plus 4 and g of x equals 12x plus 10, name the point where the two lines would intersect. Well, equations intersect where they come together at a point. And if they come together at a point, that means that they are equal at that spot. So the only way to solve this is to say that this equation has to be equal to this equation. So 3x plus 4 equals 12x plus 10. So we're going to solve for x. So I'm going to say minus 12x. 3 minus 12 is negative 9. Plus 4 equals 10 minus 4. So negative 9x equals negative 14. Divide by negative 9. X equals 14 over 9. Which is not pretty, but that's okay. All right, so then in order to find the y value, because we want the point, so if we want to name the point, that's the xy coordinate. Well, I know the x value, so let's find the y. You're going to find the y by plugging this x value in for one of the original equations. So I'm just going to plug it into the first one. So I have 3. Instead of x, I have 14 over 9 plus 4. So 3 times 14 over 9 is the same as 3 times 14, which is 42, divided by 9. But that is just another decimal. It's a repeating decimal, so we're going to keep it a fraction, but it will simplify. So I've got 42 over 9 plus 4. 42 and 9 are both divisible by 3. So that's really 42 divided by 3 is 14. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Plus, now this 4 has to be changed to something over 3. So if right now it's 4 over 1, it's the same as 12 over 3. 14 plus 12 is 26. So 26 thirds is the y value. And that's really nasty. But that's the idea. So my answer is 14 ninths, 26 thirds. All right, question number 5. 2x minus x plus 10 equals p times 2x minus 20. If the equation, that should say has infinitely many solutions, then p is a constant. What is the value of p? If there are infinitely many solutions, that means that the left-hand side of the equation has to be equal to the right-hand side. So if I simplify the left-hand side, first I'm going to distribute that minus 1. So it's really 2x minus x minus 10, which is really just a single x minus 10 equals p times 2x minus 20. Well, if I need them to be the same, p has to be equal to 1/2. Because the only way I get 2x minus 20 to be the same as x minus 10 is if you divide everything by 2. So p equals 1/2 or 0.5. Number 6, write the equation of the line that passes through the points 2, -4, and 3, 7. Then we're going to use the equation to find the value of y when x is 0. So in order to write the equation, we first have to find the slope. So I'm going to take my y7 minus -4, so 7 minus -4, over 3 minus 2. Well, minus negative becomes plus, so that's 11 over 1, so the slope is 11. So y minus -4 equals m times x minus 2, so that becomes plus. So my equation is y plus 4 equals 11 times x minus 2. And I want to know the value of y when x is 0. So I'm going to keep the equation times 0 minus 2. So y plus 4 equals 11 times -2. So y plus 4 equals -22 minus 4. Y equals -26. That's the answer. Number 7, write the equation of the line g of x that is perpendicular to the line 2x plus 3y equals 7 and passes through the point of -3, 2. So if I need to write an equation of a line, I first need to know the slope. And if this new line is perpendicular to the old line, then I have to find the slope of the old line, and then I have to find its opposite reciprocal, which means change the sign and flip the fraction. So in order to find the slope from the equation, I have to get it to y equals. Because if I can get it to y equals mx plus b, then I know m is the slope. So then I'll know how to locate my slope. So I'm going to minus 2x from both sides. So 3y equals, I can't subtract 7 and -2x. So I'm just going to keep -2x and a positive 7. Divide by 3. y equals negative 2/3 x plus 7/3. And the only part of this equation I care about is the slope, because I know I need to use it. So the perpendicular slope, if the old slope is negative 2/3, the new slope is going to be positive because it needs to be opposite sign, and 3/2 because it needs to be the reciprocal. So now I can write my point slope form. Y minus 2 equals the slope 3/2 x minus negative 3. That turns to plus. So let me write that clear. So x plus 3. All right. And there you go. All right, question number 8. If you multiply 3 minus 2i and 4 plus 5i in the form a plus bi, what is the value of b? So first they want me to multiply 3 minus 2i times 4 plus 5i. So I'm going to FOIL it out. So 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5i, 15i. Negative 2i times 4 is negative 8i. Negative 2i times 5i is a negative 10i squared. Combine like terms, so 12 plus 7i minus 10i squared. Now, I squared is the same as negative 1, and negative 10 times negative 1 is positive 10. So I really have 12 plus 7i plus 10. Add your like terms again, so 22 plus 7i. Now, the question wants to know the value of b. So b is 7, because it's a plus bi. So the a is 22, b is 7. All right, find f of g of 4. So the first thing you need to know is that g of 4, we used to have g of x, right? But x has been turned into 4. So I need to find first g of 4. In order to do that, I need to find where x is 4 and then figure out what is g. Well, it's 2. So that gave me 2. So now I need to find f of 2. Okay, so 2 is now your x. So find where x is 2 and then go to f. It's negative 3. And that's the answer. All right. Number 10, rationalize the denominator. In order to rationalize the denominator, you have to multiply by the complex conjugate, which means you multiply by the exact same thing that the denominator already is, but you have to change the sign, and you have to do it to the top and bottom of the fraction. So on the top, we're just going to distribute the 7. So 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times negative 1 square root 7 is negative 7, square root 5. On the bottom, we have to FOIL it out. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times minus square root 5 is negative square root 5. Square root 5 times 1 is a positive square root 5. Positive square root 5 times negative square root 5 is a negative square root of 25. All right, now we can clean up the bottom a little bit. Negative square root 5 and positive square root 5 cancel. The square root of 25 is really just 5 whole. So I really have 1 minus 5. So in the denominator, I really have negative 4. And the numerator, 7 minus 7 square root 5. All right, number 11, simplify. So your exponent rules say if you have an exponent outside of parentheses, you're going to multiply that exponent to all the bases inside. So see how I gave it this base of x an exponent of 1? So I really have x, 1 times 3 over 5 is 3 over 5. Y, 2 over 3 times 3 over 5. 2 over 3 is 6. 3 over 5 is 15. Okay, but 6 over 15 can be simplified by 3, so it's really 2 over 5. So let's rewrite that to be y to the 2/5 over x negative 2, y negative 3. All right, now your next rule says that if you have variables on top of each other, then you can subtract their exponents. So I'm going to take 3/5 minus negative 2, which is the same as adding 2. Now this is 2 over 1. And in order to add it to 3/5, I need it to be something over 5. So I really have 3/5 plus, so if we multiply top and bottom by 5, 10 over 5. So I have 13/5. So my answer is going to have an x to the 13 over 5 power. Now to figure out the y's, I have 2/5 minus -3. That turns to plus. It's 3/1, but I need it to be over 5. So 2/5 plus 15/5 is 17/5. So I have x 13/5 times y 17/5. And that's the answer. Number 12, find the point which satisfies both equations. What is the value of x plus y? So first I need to solve the system. You can solve a system using substitution or elimination. So I'm going to use elimination on this one, and there's a couple different ways you could use elimination too. You can multiply the top equation by 3 and the bottom equation by 2. I'm going to multiply the top equation by -1. It's just another option, because -1 times 2x is -2x. -1 times y is -1y, and -1 times 12 is -12. Bring the second one over, so -3x plus y equals 12. So now what I have is -1y plus y cancels the y's, because remember we're adding the equations at this point. So -2 plus -3 is -5x equals -12 plus 12 is 0. That does not mean you have no solution. You have no solution or infinite solution when both your variables cancel. But if just the answer gives you 0, that's okay. You can keep going. Divide by -5. So x equals 0. Now I need to find the y value. So pick either of your original equations. So 2 times x is 0 plus y equals 12. So 0 plus y equals 12. So y equals 12. But now for my answer, they want me to add them. So x, 0, plus y, 12, is 12. All right, for this next question, we are asked to find the domain. In order to find the domain, you're going to assume, first of all, because it's a rational expression, it's a fraction like this, then we always assume we go from -infinity to +infinity. But I need to know where I have to stop in between there. And you're going to have to stop the domain at vertical asymptotes and holes or removable discontinuities. Both of those things happen when the denominator is 0. So if I set the denominator equal to 0, I can figure out what x values I'm not allowed to have. So we need to factor the denominator. 4 times 7 is -28, and b is -12. So two numbers that multiply to -28 and add to -12, -14 and 2 will work. So x minus 14 and x plus 2. Don't forget to divide by a. Now simplify the fractions. Now kick back the denominators. So really this is 2x minus 7 and 2x plus 1. Make those both equal 0. So x equals 7/2 is one number that's not in my domain. And x equals -1/2 is the second number that is not in my domain. So my domain can go all the way from -infinity to -1/2, from 1/2 to 7/2, and from 7/2 to infinity. All right. Number 14, find the x and y intercepts. All right, the x-intercept happens when you have a value for x and y is 0. The y-intercept happens when you have 0 for x and a value for y. So if I want to find the x and y intercepts, I need to plug in 0 to the opposite piece. So first, let's find the y-intercept first. So if I'm finding the y-intercept, f of x same as y equals 2 times 0 instead of x. So y equals, that is 0 minus 0, so y is 0. So my y-intercept happens to be 0, 0. All right, now the x-intercept is a little more complicated. So if I'm finding the x-intercept, then I'm going to plug in 0 for y. 2x cubed minus 32x. Now the only way to solve this when I have lots of x's going on and they're not a like term is you have to factor it. So I can take out of both terms, I can take out 2x. I'm left with x squared minus 16. X squared minus 16 can be x plus 4 and x minus 4. So this equation actually has 3 x-intercepts. We're going to solve 2x equals 0, x plus 4 equals 0, and x minus 4 equals 0. So divide by 2, x equals 0, minus 4, x equals negative 4, plus 4, x equals 4. So I have one y-intercept, 0, 0, and I have 3 x-intercepts, 0, 0, negative 4, 0, and positive 4, 0. All right, number 15. The population of the city of Miami is approximately 463,300 and is increasing at a rate of 3% each year. Use an exponential function to find the population of the city after 7 years. So remember, you always start with what you began with. So my initial value, 463,300 times, because we're increasing 1 plus 3% is the same as 0.03. And then your time is 7 years. All right, so when you plug all of that into your calculator, and I did not do that yet. Hang on. So if you use the TI-83 that's on your Chromebook, you can just type all of that in exactly as it looks. I forgot to do that, so let me type in what I've got. 1 plus 0.03 raised to the 7th power times 463. Hang on, I gotta start over. My bad. Times 463,300. You should get 569,800.5619. If you want a whole number, you're gonna round to here. So 569,801 should be the population after 7 years. And it makes sense because we're increasing, and that's bigger than this. All right, 16. Find f of g of x if f of x is x squared plus 3x minus 4 and g of x is 2x. So if I need to put g of x as my input, then g of x that is equal to 2x is going to go inside of f at every x you see. So my function f, when x is turned to g of x, is instead of x, I have 2x squared plus 3 times 2x minus 4. So f of g of x is 2 squared is 4, x squared. 3 times 2 is 6x minus 4. So you put g inside of f. All right. The population of a city is 51,000 and is decreasing at a rate of 1.75% per year. Use an exponential function to find the expected population in 5 years. So we're going to start with our initial value, 51,000. Because we're decreasing, 1 whole minus 1.75% is equal to 0.0175 raised to the power of 5 years. So again, if you had your graphing calculator, you could do all that at one time. I forgot mine, so it's going to take me a minute. 1 minus 0.0175. We're going to raise that to the 5th power. And then we're going to multiply it times 51,000. So you have 4, 6, 6, 9, 0, 9, 7, and so on, and so on, and so on. 90 point. All right, now we want to round to the nearest whole number, so the 9 will round that up. So 46691. So 46,691 will be your population after you've decreased at that rate for 5 years. All right, parallel lines have the same slope. Exactly the same. Same signs, same fraction, everything. Ever asked to find the roots, that simply means to find the x-intercepts. So the roots are the same as the x-intercepts, which means I need to know the value of x when y is 0. So remember, an x-intercept is a value for x, y is 0. So if 0 equals 2x squared minus 5x plus 1, the only way to solve that is to factor it. So 2 times 1 is 2, and b is negative 5. But that's not factorable. There are no two numbers that will work for that. So if you can't factor it, your only other option is to use the quadratic formula. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2 times a. A is 2, b is negative 5, c is 1. So the first I have is negative b. So the opposite of negative 5 is positive 5, plus and minus the square root. b is negative 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times 1, all over 2 times 2. Now we're just going to clean it up. So I have 5 plus and minus the square root. Negative 5 squared is a positive 25. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, times 1 is negative 8, so minus 8 over 4. 5 plus or minus the square root. 25 minus 8 is 17, all over 4. Nothing else simplifies, so that is my answer, and that's technically 2 answers. There are 2 roots. You have one root where you have 5 plus square root 17 divided by 4, and your second answer is 5 minus square root 17 over 4. All right, factor. Number 20. If you need to factor 6x squared plus 11xy minus 10y squared. First, just pretend that there's no y's. You know how to factor 6x squared plus 11x minus 10. So let's do that to find our numbers, and then we'll come back and figure out the y's. So 6 times negative 10 is negative 60. B is 11. Two numbers that multiply to negative 60 and add to 11 are negative 4 and positive 15. So x minus 4, x plus 15. Divide by a, and then simplify. And then kick back your fraction. So I have 3x minus 2, 2x plus 5. Now, true factors should be able to multiply to get us back to where we started. And it's true that 3x times 2x is 6x squared. But I also need it to multiply the back sides to give me negative 10y squared. Right now, negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. But if I want it to be negative 10y squared, I need a y there and a y there. So your factors really are 3x minus 2y and 2x plus 5y. That's it.